I think there's two really interesting things that you said that I hope people took notice of. One is about betting. And I think it's really important to achieve growth. You have to be willing to make strategic and well thought but bets.
Yep.
And two, I think as your role as leader isn't just to set strategy, it's to challenge the status quo, to be a little crazy, to drive those bets and create that growth. And I think people need to understand that.
And then work through it. I mean, the amount of mistakes we've made this year trying to figure this shit out is actually borderline scary. Like it really is. There have been sleepless nights where I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And there's a slew of things that come in because we're buying other people's businesses. It's not like they run them exactly like us. And then we adopt all their good stuff and all their bad stuff.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what is this? Why do you do this? And so all that fixing, frankly, costs money, but you got to figure it out quickly. And that's been really what we've started to learn this year is just urgency on fixing things because they're going to be broken. And then, I heard the founder of Oak Tree Capital speak, a huge private equity firm. And he said something about 2008 that really is what set him up as a success. They sat around when the markets were just a disaster and everything was falling apart. And he said, we decided there are two opportunities. Either the world's going to end or it's not. Mm-hmm. So everything was an all-time low. Everything looked in the toilet, but it's like either like we've just ended capitalism or this will come back. And if that's oversimplifying, but there's truth in that because then it's like, well, if it's the end of capitalism, who gives a shit what bets we make? It's the end of capitalism. Yeah. So we might as well bet heavy right now. And so at the bottom of 2008 or 2009, I guess would be the bottom, he just bet heavy on a bunch of stuff and obviously
paid off.
So
yeah, it paid off.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So no, it's just the other question I had for you, because as people think about acquisitions or even just doing mergers or strategic partnerships, finding ways to integrate that culture and do it quickly can be challenging. And it feels like you guys have this formula that you can hit on pretty quickly to get people to come into the organization, leverage the resources that you have. So your onboarding strategy has got to be really tight and in sync.
Yep.
Do you mind talking about that a little?
Yeah, no, I mean, the nice thing is people ask, like, because I get asked a lot about this, the culture side hasn't been an issue other than a couple individuals. Like it's rare, but it happens. But mostly the nice thing is I feel like because our agency and most agencies are so client facing, you kind of have to be a decent human being. And so you get a bunch of decent human beings that like marketing in a room and it's generally they get along. Like it hasn't been, there's exceptions, but the rule is that hasn't been horrible. The other piece is, just for us, all the technology, all the softwares, all the expenses, all the contractors, all the stuff outside of the employees that we have to get our hands around and figure out what's redundant, what's not. Again, part of the challenge here is to make sure we clean things up really quickly, because if we're double paying for a bunch of stuff, that's how we can lose a lot of money on this stuff. So we do that, getting our arms around, and a lot of this happens in diligence, getting our arms around their client relationships, how good they are, how they bill them, how, all the kind of working capital side of it is a really big part. The financial side has honestly been where the differences are stark, and understand why some people struggle with these businesses, because, it might look, your P&L might look great, but you're actually not getting paid by anyone and those kind of things. So that's been a big one. And then making sure the founder lands in a place that they feel like there was no bait and switch. And that's the biggest one, is being super transparent up front, trying to be super articulate, like this is going to go, and set their expectations right, and then stay in there with them and really walk them through everything. That's been a big part of it. And that's been a really valuable part of the how we built it out, because that's where that Knights of the Round Table thing came in. We found that one-on-one meetings were great, but it'd just be like, hey, how can I help you? Great. How's everything going? Let me remove that roadblock. I'm sorry, that's a pain in the ass. And I tell them all, like, first 2-3 months are a fucking nightmare. Like you're having to maintain your business. We're starting to integrate and take things over, but we're not there yet, because we're having to learn all the details of like, oh yeah, that's over here. And oh yeah, my bookkeeper handles that. And this is, we're asking them 500 questions while they still have to do things. But then what I've seen now is once that 2 to 3 months is up, then it just starts to, the flywheel starts to
you get the,
thank God. Now I know you guys, I know who to go to for what. It's a lot more clear, and it can, really take off.